They wanted to apply innovation. They wanted to cover the whole value chain of renewable energy plants and all the life cycle stages of renewable energy plants. And they wanted to apply technology, and they wanted to do it applying, like, leveraging all the knowledge that they had in SAS. And that's where, like, it was like, whoa, amazing to find this perfect match and to rely on them.
Hi Carla, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
We finally made this happen. I'm so excited to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for your patience. I know that it was a kind of a hectic month for me, but thank you for making this happen.
No problem. The important thing is that you're here. So if you're talking about solar and rated power, what would be your motivation? How you ended up in solar and renewables?
That's a long story because my background is in law. My degree is in law. I started being a corporate lawyer and focused on advising companies in their M&A processes, helping their corporate issues, so nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. But I was assessing a lot of startups, a lot of renewable energy companies. I was advising different startups in my previous role. I was advising as well renewable energy companies. I was doing the refinancing of renewable energy companies. And after 4 years of that role, I thought that I was missing something. I wanted to make a shift in my career because I wanted to leave the company from its heart, let's say, rather than advising them and moving on. I could tell that, and I could see so many interesting companies there. So I just quit it. I started this governmental MBA. It's called Ethics in Spain, and it gave me the foundations of business strategy, but from another point, from another field. And then from that master's, I got the chance to start working with something that resonates with me, which was startups and renewable energy, and that's why I applied to RatedPower. And Andrea, one of the co-founders and my boss, was kind enough to hire me in 2019, and that's when I started my career in the renewable energy sector, and it's been already almost 7 years. So yeah.
And that's the equivalent of dog years, right?
Yeah, a lifetime for a dog.
So we were talking about you actually starting working for RatedPower, and we were talking about 7 years in the same company and also in solar. That's quite a long time. So what inspires you on a daily basis? What makes you stick to the mission?
I think that it's super easy to be working in the same industry. I think that there's a lot of things to do, and I think that we won't see it end. We won't see the end of this. We're just in the beginning of the energy mix, and we're trying to deploy as faster as possible to help out in the energy transition, right? And seeing that I can still out in the deployment of renewable energy, that helps me with applying technology, applying innovation, which is kind of key for us. And having this great, motivated and proactive team that wants the same and has the same purpose as me, it's easy for me to stick to this mission and to keep working on this path.
Very interesting. And what would you say is the kind of secret sauce? What is the company culture like at RatedPower?
So the secret sauce, I think that it's first being humble, being transparent, having this willingness to learn and to innovate in our world, in the renewable energy sector. But with this transparency, with this humble situation where you want to learn, and you know that there's a lot of people out there that know a lot and that can inspire you, and trying to get a grasp on their knowledge. And I think that the secret sauce of RatedPower is a team. To be honest, it's having this innovative young team that we want to prosper and to make the world a better one. And it may sound cheesy, but it is true. And you can tell, and everybody that knows RatedPower and that they have been interacting with us, they see it and they tell us, because I think that it's kind of genuine what we have.
It's also super rare to find, right? Because most people are stuck on the business side of things, but I found it myself as well. The more genuine you are in terms of your communication, the how you put forward your product as well, the better it is. And I think the biggest challenge for a salesperson is to say no to a customer at the beginning, saying, okay, this is not the right product for you. I don't want to sell you this product because it's not going to solve your problem. You're going to be unhappy. And I think there is power in that.
Absolutely. I mean, I have a colleague that he was like, I'm totally frank and honest with people. I mean, if it doesn't serve, it doesn't serve. And it is true. I think that it's one of like the super biggest pillars that we had. It's transparency from the very beginning, and something that part of our culture that the three co-founders like established, and you could tell they would communicate everything, and they would be transparent in which state of the company we were and what was the situation and what would happen next. And since we lived it from the very beginning, we of course followed their path and their guidance, and we did the same. So we are very transparent within the company, with our teammates, and of course with the clients.
Nice. And speaking of the founders, can you walk us through and the audience the founding story? How did the idea came about?
Yes, beautiful. So we have three co-founders, right? So we have Miguel Angel, Andrea, and Juan. They spent together 7 years, I think, working together in the same company, doing the deployment of solar PV plants, doing the engineering processes, working themselves in that area. And they knew firsthand how tedious it was to have all these disciplinary teams working together just for to do the assessment and the feasibility study of just one project. It involved a lot of different configurations, a lot of specialists in topography, in meteorological data, in civil engineering, etc. And they would spend weeks doing just the feasibility study of a project, and they were very exhausted. And you could tell that even if you would spend weeks doing the feasibility study of a project, maybe that project wouldn't go move forward to construction. And that's why they thought, hey, we have to actually try to automate this. We know that if we apply technology to this, we can optimize this process. And that's why they started RatedPower, the tool that we have right now at Enverus. And they gathered all together all the configuration that different teams work on in order to do the feasibility analysis of the plant. They did it in a super easy, user-friendly platform, and they launched it. And that's the beginning of our story.
But that was back in 2019, so the world has changed quite a lot since then. Back then there was no AI.
Well,
Today there
2000,
is.
yeah,
17 was the original foundation.
yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
that's even more impressive. So there were literally no user-friendly tools that you could use either to build or to automate the building process itself, right? And how are you guys using AI today in RatedPower? How does it help you to automate this process even further?
So we are not using it right now. We have a project, let's say, to know how to use generative AI, and in at Enverus, they are investing a lot in AI right now. At Enverus, they are applying it in some in some parts of our in some products of ours, but not yet in RatedPower, even though we're going to apply it and we're studying it. So we have a great team of people trying to introduce it at some point.
And what is your feedback, or what is the typical buyer persona for you guys? Who is the typical buyer?
So we do have the typical one is a developer, a solar developer or an energy storage developer. So people that they want to deploy solar everywhere in utility, because we're working on utility scale, and that is deploying worldwide. I mean, you know that this is a kind of standardized world, so you can deploy everywhere, and that's our typical buyer persona. They are like 60% of our customer base right now, and because they need tools, and they still need tools to optimize their processes and design and engineering processes pre-construction in the pre-construction phases of a PV plant or an energy storage system. apart from that, as well, we have EPC, like the construction companies that they as well, some of them they develop in house, some of them they don't, and they want to go to a more detailed oriented engineering. So that's also part of our ICP. And then we have, of course, engineering firms that work for both developers or EPCs. Of course, the IPPs as well, if they have an in-house team, and even equipment manufacturers that they want to like assess their performance over other equipment manufacturers. They are our clients, so we cover like the whole spectrum, and even financial institutions that they want to see the financial feasibility of a plant.
So almost the whole value chain.
Yep, how we cover them all.
And what is your take or what is your feedback from your customers when it comes to using cloud-based versus CAD-based tools?
So I like to say that they're like kind of relieved. I think that like the industry evolves, and we suffer an evolution. And I remember that like the first feedbacks that we received were like cloud based. I mean, we don't have to download anything. We don't have to. There's no plugin. And it was like, no, you just need internet and you can work wherever you want, and you don't have any limitation, and you don't have even user limitations. So, and they were like kind of shocked. Right now, I think that it's something that it's more standardized and everything. Everybody's going to the cloud, but we were pioneers there, and I think that we're already like the industry is used to this right now.
Indeed. And I mean, my background is, I've been selling software for the last 15 years, and any software I worked with, you really see the tendency of pushing all the hosting into cloud and making it more user friendly. And of course, with AI and the trainability of the AI, you are actually much better off storing it in the cloud than having it on your own servers and having it locally on your laptop. But of course, it's kind of a always shock to the system when you present something that's that ahead of its time.
It is, but don't you think that right now, like people get used to like the innovation very well if it works? So I mean, I remember that they were very shocked, and right now, like cloud based, it's something that it's on a daily basis already. I mean, there's a lot of good products out there that they already use cloud based software. It's like a normal thing to 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 work on right now, even though it's been innovative.
Indeed. And speaking of the mergers and acquisition side of your past as well, can you walk us through and the audience through the whole merger with Enverus? How did that go about?
It was, yeah, of course, and I lived it very closely because, of course, I was there, and the founders as well relied as well on many of us, and it was a love match. I like to say, because we had a very clear mission and vision of what we wanted to be. We wanted to innovate in the solar industry. We wanted to apply technology, and we were a SaaS, which was difficult to have. Like to find companies that were SaaS focused. And we found the perfect match, meaning that we found a company that has been in the SaaS business for 15 years already, which is kind of impressing, considering like back then in the past. And they shared the same vision. They wanted to apply innovation. They wanted to cover the whole value chain of renewable energy plants and all the life cycle stages of renewable energy plants. And they wanted to apply technology, and they wanted to do it applying like leveraging all the knowledge that they had in SaaS. And that's where like it was like, wow, amazing to find this perfect match, and to rely on them, because we can apply a lot the knowledge that they have and the 15-year background and data driven company that they are. And it was kind of us looking for a partner, them looking for a partner. They had tools from prospection up until asset management, but they were in need of looking for a design and engineering tool pre-construction, and it was us. Were both SaaS, and it was a match.
So basically, after the merger with them, you can cover a broader spectrum of activities in terms of the both engineering and also the site selection phases, right?
Yes, absolutely. So I don't know if you know Enverus
Yep.
or how much do you know about Enverus, but yes, we are right now. We are the largest energy-only focused software company in the world, and we have more than 6,000 businesses that are using our solutions. And we cover from scouting and developing and designing projects to managing grid, trading power, buying and selling assets. All this within Enverus, and that's where they wanted some like a tool for the design and engineering, and that's where we came in.
Can you speak to the pitfalls of when engineering goes wrong and when the production is not being met, of course, as it was as the designer planned it? Do you have any good examples of this?
We have so many. And that's why we also like launch this product, because when you are developing a solar plant, you need to do a lot of let's say assessment, and you have to try out different configuration to find the most optimal one. But typically, when you're developing, you don't have just one project to develop, but you have to develop hundreds of them, like dozens of them, and you don't have time, and you have to compete with other developers, with other IPPs that they want to like develop where you want to develop. So you have to act fast, and you have to pick the right plot and the right site, or the right site that has an interconnection facility with capability, like with capacity. And then you have to find the perfect configuration. If you don't have the right tools to do this, and if you just try out one configuration and that's it, then you see that your results are not going to match with reality. Design phases, according to Arena, they represent 3.1 to 1% or like 2% of the costs of a solar plant, which is a lot. I mean,
But the
it's a
impact
lot.
is much larger, I guess.
Sorry?
But the impact, if the design and is 1 to 2%,
Absolutely.
the impact and the knock-on effect is way larger than that.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, you have to secure the early stages of a plan. Otherwise, you're going to be like the impact in the cost is it's going to be tremendous, and that's and dramatic. And that's why you have to invest in tools that are going to allow you to match as much as possible to reality. And that's where RatedPower comes in, where you can, with a very user-friendly interface, you can select the configuration of a plant, and then like super quick, and then you can compare it with another configuration that you have created by just cloning the design, and then compare it to another one and another one and another one, and you can compare thousands of different iterations to find the most efficient one, the most feasible one, let's say.
Makes sense. And when we are talking about designs and balancing the grid as well, can we speak a little bit about the elephant in the room, the big Spanish blackout?
I mean, I'm no expert at all, so I mean, I'm not a great expert. But of course, one thing that we all have learned is that we thought that we have one of the most solid grids in the world, and we're like proud of saying that. And we've seen that it's not flawless, and that we can suffer blackouts as well, and we have to find the root of the problem. I'm no expert. I know that a lot of my colleagues are like kind of crazy, like kind of working hard to understand what happens. But yes, we have to rely on, and we have to invest a lot in smart grids. We have to invest a lot in battery storage systems, because we cannot rely on the former grids or the former systems that we had. And that's where we, as a company, are headed to. We want to be smart in the energy mix, and we want our clients to be smart in the energy mix, and that they can rely on different sources in order to leverage them when they have to leverage them, and then pour power to the grid, or get powered from a storage system or whatsoever. That's where we want to focus our efforts, and that's where we're headed to.
And what really struck me that you mentioned is battery storage. So this is something that keeps coming back both on this podcast and from my entire network in solar. Everybody's saying that 2025 is going to be the year of BESS. What's your take on that?
Absolutely. I agree with everybody that has been in your podcast. I mean, and that's why we're also investing in BESS tools. We have a product that it's BESS, and it's for standalone battery storage systems or hybridization with solar. And we're investing more and more. And with episodes like the blackout, I hope that more people invest in battery storage systems. As I was saying, I mean, solar depends on the sun, wind depends on the wind. I mean, we need tools to save the energy that we generate and to pour it in the grid whenever it's necessary, or to our own manufacturing systems or whatsoever. We have to be smart while using the energy, and battery storage systems are going to be key in order to be smart and play around energy.
Indeed, and I think what's a bit of a flaw in the whole industry is that we are thinking about it as kind of a sum of disjointed systems, but everything is connected. So we really need to focus on delivering an end-to-end energy solution, not just focusing on solar, but also on storage, on the grid, on communication between these elements, and making sure that the whole thing works as one unit. Because if we will focus on one thing and overinvest on the solar side only, how are we going to transport it into the grid? How are the households going to consume it? And then we are in trouble.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's why, I mean, I completely agree with you, and that's why we have to like also invest in smart grids. And Enverus is like, that's why I like a lot Enverus, because we are investing like in the whole like spectrum of the renewable energy system, not only in solar, but we're working with different energy sources, and we are investing in battery storage systems, as we were saying, and we are very focused as well in the different grids in the US. So yes, I absolutely agree with you that we have to be very smart, and we have to invest as well, like the US does in smart grids, for instance. And we need a lot of that in Europe.
Makes sense. And I still need to read the new Solar Power Europe report that just came out yesterday.
So
But there is quite a lot of data on battery storage, smarter grids, better financing as well, of course, which is super important in our industry. We are quite capex intensive.
yeah,
So if we can provide some smarter financing, then of course the industry is going to grow much faster, and hopefully we are not going to be left behind in Europe compared to the rest of the world, right?
the elephant in the room too.
Yeah.
How to finance less. Yes.
And what always strikes me is that China consistently installs more energy and more renewable energy than the rest of the world combined. So we really need to focus on that. We really need to be competitive, and of course, it will feed back to our industries. We need to remain competitive both in Europe and also in the US as well. But
Yes. Yeah.
it's going to be a big challenge for sure.
Yeah, look at India as well. I mean, they are like also deploying so much and so fast. Like China, they are like one of the biggest countries that is going to deploy renewable energy faster in like from now on till 2030. I mean, and I just saw a summary of the solar outlook from and it was, I mean, it's, I want to see as well how they are going to be able to deploy all that in India.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have big ambitions. I actually spoke to a good friend of mine, Michael Zapp. He has boots on the ground in India, and he keeps saying that the feeling in India is the same as it was in China in 2008. That there is a lot of ambition, a lot of pull through. People are motivated. People are trying to see, these larger projects through, and they are pushing for innovation because they see that that's going to elevate the economy to the next level.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're going to see a second China, I think there. So yeah.
Let's hope it. I'm sure it's going to happen. And when we are talking about different projects across different geographies, what project stands out for you? Is there any particular project anywhere in the world that you think or feel was built with your tool that's super interesting? Or
I from our clients, you're saying
yep,
the one that stands out, or that it's been kind of like repetitive to do. It's like in the Atacama Desert, which like of course has the best conditions ever. I mean, they have a great irradiance plus I mean, they have a lot of field and non-difficult one, and you can deploy a lot of gigawatts there. I think that would be the most ideal, the one that stands out for me. But I mean, I've seen many different crazy solar projects.
Of course, if you have the flat land, it's quite easy to build. So
Yeah, that's
it's
why
ideal conditions.
it's ideal conditions, cost effective. I mean, you don't bother anyone. You are not going to are going to be bothering um, any kind of community, let's say, or not many. So yeah, it's ideal for many of our clients.
And speaking of flatlands, how do you guys tackle a bit more difficult terrain in rated power? Do you have a sort of cut and fill functionality, or
Yeah, so we do have like we launched it. I think that 4 years ago, our cut and fill feature. Like our clients are able to actually like do the cut and fill on difficult terrains and see the volume that they have to actually cut and fill. So it's out there and it's been for a while. I don't think that our clients are very happy with it.
nice? And when it comes to plans for 2025, are you guys working on anything specific? Is there anything special coming from rated power in terms of features, etc.?
2025. So we are I mean, we launched battery storage systems and we're going to like keep working on that so that it's a super robust and solid feature, let's say. Then we are giving more and more editability to our clients. We do have the layout editor that came out recently in January, and it allows engineering firms or EPCs or developers to like go to a more detail oriented design, let's say. They can move around the power stations, the roads, everything, like all the structures. And we're going to give more love to that feature. And we're going to keep working on the editability of the plants without losing, of course, this easiness or this user-friendly interface and this quick interface that we have. And then we're working as many on the 3D energy module that hopefully we can launch in 2025. I think that it's also going to be a game changer for everybody. We're studying how to do it, and we have the model already set. We're being helped by different clients, and I think that is going to be also a great product to launch during 2025.
Very exciting. So I'm looking forward to seeing those in action.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. I'm just like we're all hands on deck with that, and we're also sorry because I just forgot to mention like the to improve as well our prospecting tool, Prism. I don't know if you know it, but it's for to select the right land with or the right parcel with the right interconnection system with capacity next to it. It's one of the products that Enverus brought to us, and we're super happy to start commercializing in Europe. And we started commercializing it in 2025, and we're going to continue working on this one because it's a great tool, very oriented to the different markets. So you have to adapt to to the regulation of different countries, but we're working hard on it as well. So a lot of projects going on in 2025, and I think that is going to be um, a good one for us.
For sure. And I mean, the site selection I hear is one of the more biggest unmet needs, especially when we are talking about different countries. And if you can bring that also in Europe across different geographies, it's going to be a game changer for sure. Most
Yeah.
companies are trying to have like an end-to-end solution, and that's what they expect from a design tool, that you can scout for the land, find the land, assess the land, and then if we like it, then we can start building and doing the design as well, and then put it into operation. So that's going to be very exciting for sure.
We have it already. We have received like great feedback from different users, but we have it for the specific countries in Spain, in Europe, and we have to launch more and more. And there are countries that are more difficult than others,
Yeah, of
and
course.
and of course having like the capacity of the substation for Italy would be like the secret sauce for everybody, and everybody is asking for this, and we're working, for instance, to deliver this as soon as possible. So yeah,
Yeah, of
that's our
course.
purpose, to have an end-to-end solution and help out.
Of course, and especially for the example of Italy, the regional government is always throwing some bricks under the feet.
Yeah, that's why everybody's asking us to deliver some magic, and that's what we're trying to do.
I'm sure you will be able to do it.
Hopefully,
And
let's see.
Speaking of that, challenges, maybe failures as well. Is there any particular failure in your career that you think that you learned from a lot that changed the course of your professional career?
I think that I'm built with a lot of failures and a lot of successes, successful stories. I wouldn't like say one in particular. I cannot like tell one in particular. I have lived so many, but all of them like have shaped the Carla that I am right now. So I'm proud and I cherish all of them. But I couldn't tell like a particular one.
Or is
Maybe
there
maybe yes, for instance, struggling with, for instance, having the right team, because I mean, people have their own also purposes or goals in life, and like at some point, trying to keep this culture that we have with newcomers and with growing so fast. That was a challenge rather than a failure. But of course, within this challenge came a lot of failures as well, and trying to find the right team to continue the work that we are working on or the job that we're doing. It's been kind of challenging, but I've learned a lot of team management in the past years, I guess. It's not a failure, sorry, but it's been challenging. I
Yeah,
don't
of
know how
course.
to.
I mean, it
Yeah.
is a challenge, and I think where most companies go a little bit sideways is that they are hiring people who are not the right cultural or mindset fit for the company, and
Mhm.
they are trying to spend a lot of efforts and resources on changing that mindset. And it's much more difficult to do that than finding the right person who has the right motivation, the right kind of focus in professional or personal life to the
Mhm.
company. And if these two are aligned, then of course you don't need to spend that much time training or trying to course correct, right? But of course, if you guys are growing this fast, sometimes you cannot make all your decisions correct all the time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's you put it perfectly. Now we're not growing that fast and that crazy, but within these 2 years we had to grow faster, and that's where, of course, we're not perfect and we cannot like always be right, and that's where you can make some mistakes, or you don't like you just wanna like add resources, but then you don't realize that you have to also like take the time, and that's something that I have learned to like find the right team. It's very important, and take the time to find the right team, even though you won't have to run, but take a second look, a third look on finding the right talent. Otherwise, it's going to come back to you very soon.
Measure twice, cut once, right?
Sorry?
Measure twice, cut once.
Absolutely. Yes.
I
That's
can
been a
only
challenge.
I can only echo that from my past as well. You know, I build sales teams as well, and it's not an easy task to do. And it's actually two jobs. One is the building side, and the second one is the operational side. It's quite a big challenge.
That's another story, yes. But it is exciting at the same time. And if you come with the right people right now, I mean, we have a great management team, and they are all working together to also onboard properly the team members that they have arrived. And you can tell whenever you do things right that like they are motivated and they want to also build something. But yes, we are right now in the phase of like having like to run everything smoothly and to optimize our processes. We just got over the phase of hiring, which is good.
Yeah, that's good. It's always a lesson learned, and if it's well documented and if you learn from it, I think you're setting yourself up to success for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I've learned so much. We have all learned so much about it.
And on the note of learning, is there any particular book that inspired you in your career? Is there something that you perhaps are gifting to friends?
For us, and I think that we share it with everybody that like comes and joins Rated Power in a more junior level. I think that one that helped us a lot, not inspires us, but like helps us like understand our team is predictable revenue. But I don't, I mean, I guess that you know it by Aaron Ross. It helped me a lot when we started Rated Power, because I mean when we were starting at Rated Power, because we had to build everything from scratch. It helped us understand how to build the foundations of of a scalable sales team. When I was like fresh and a newbie in this area, I learned key aspects like the importance of lead generation, of cold calling, of finding the right people, what was a lead. So this is something that for the BDRs that we have that are coming and joining our team, that they have never been able to work in a SaaS environment, we highly recommend them to read.
Are you guys still working from one central office, or do you also have people who are fully remote?
So we do have the office like RatedPower in Madrid, but we have, depending on the circumstances, we have other offices in Singapore, for instance, where we have like a team of 5 already there. We have people in Melbourne because of the time differences. We have people in Colombia as well, some in Dubai. But of course, I mean, like headquarters of RatedPower here, and then depending on the time difference, time zone, we have small teams scattered around the globe.
Makes sense. It's difficult to serve a different market for plus or minus 7 hours from your.
That's crazy. I mean, it's crazy for everybody. We cannot manage everything from here, and also for the support of our clients, they need support in their time zones, and they cannot wait up until we wake up to solve a problem that they have.
And is there any particular market that you're especially excited about this year?
So many, but right now I see that the Central Eastern Europe is booming in Europe. I see a lot of potential there, especially because I'm also covering that. So my team is working very hard on exploring all the possibilities that Central Eastern Europe can bring us and can bring to the world. And I think that everybody's is like all the developers that I work with, all my clients they have an eye on that area for sure. And then worldwide, we see a lot of potential in Africa, especially South Africa, and we are seeing a lot of movement there. Yeah, mainly these two regions, apart from the typical ones. Yeah, as we were mentioning.
Yeah, their things are really heating up, and also what I'm quite excited about there is that they're also scaling up module production as well. So you see more and more Indian branded, even inverters, modules, and mounting systems being produced, and that's going to help them greatly for sure. And depending on how this crazy trade war ends up with China, US, and everything, I think it's going to be quite beneficial for the global solar industry as a whole.
I think so too. I mean, competition works for everybody, and it's healthy and helps out others innovate evolution. So I think that is having different different competitors out there makes you stronger. We're having a lot of conversations with Indian manufacturers to, like, of course, have their equipment in our system. So I think it's going to be great for the whole globe and ecosystem.
A rising tide lifts all boats. And if you could have one special ask to the audience, let that be, partnerships, know-how, etc., what would it be?
For me, always to risk a bit more in technology, not to to take a risk to be early adopters. I see that there's a lot of people that I don't. It's difficult for us, and especially back in the days, it was difficult for people to be an early adopter of the tool. Now, of course, we are more into the industry, and we're well known, and we're a software to go. But the very beginning, it was hard for people to innovate, to have different processes, to change the established process that they had and system that they had, and then they saw that it was kind of a game changer for them. So I would say to take a risk and adopt technology and innovation, because it's made for the whole industry, and we're working towards innovation so that the industry can grow faster. And be generous as well. And I think that it's super key, and it's something that we have branded from the very beginning, to share feedback, to share from your side whenever you see anything that it doesn't work, and explain why, because that's why we all grow together, and that's why we all also adapt to the energy necessities sooner.
Makes sense. I think another huge unmet need in the world or in the world of solar, is that there is no golden rule or standard process of how a project should be built. Every company has a slightly different workflow, and then it's really difficult for you to to find a golden middle route of how this project should be planned and then deviate from that there. Instead, we have every larger company or smaller company, they follow a slightly different route, and then it's really difficult to harmonize. And I think if there was an example or an industry-wide standard that this is how you should roughly start or aim for, I think that would really benefit us all.
I think so too. But at the same time, sometimes like it scares me. I mean, we have seen standards, criterias, or bankable tools that they are not necessarily are right, but they are the ones that they have been using, that people have been using for a while, and they don't question them if these bankable or standard tools are the correct ones, or they have the correct criteria. Yes, I agree, but at the same time, I would like to question the standards that we have in our industry, and in order to not question them, like just people keep working with the same old-fashioned rules that maybe don't work right now.
Yeah, indeed. I think it's interesting to test and try, and what is important to focus on is that this information should come from the ground, right? It should come from
Yep.
people who are doing the grunt work and who are almost physically building the power plants, not from regulators who have never built a power plant themselves, right?
Absolutely, but that's where also as well we are secretive, and I think that our our industry is very secretive, and it's all about prices and costs, and people wanted to like have their piece of the pie, and that's where I think that we should be a bit more generous in order to sharing, and of course from the ground, but it's kind of difficult.
Indeed, indeed. And on a final note, Carla, I think we are coming to the end of our time. What would be the right way to reach you or Rated Power in case somebody is interested?
So at our, I mean, I do have my LinkedIn page, like it's Carla Coghen. Then of course my email, which is ccoghen at ratedpower.com, and our website we do have a lot of forms, ratedpower.com or enverus.com.
We will link to all of
It's easy
that.
to reach out to me. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. So on that note, Carla, thank you very much for your time and sharing your knowledge. I really enjoyed this, and let's do this again soon.
Thank you so much, Peter, for inviting me. And yeah, of course, whenever you want, I'm up for it. Thank you. Bye bye.